everyone and welcome to Dev Lexicon. I'll be starting a series on Python programming language, which is the most versatile and a beginner friendly language. So whether you're just starting out or looking to strengthen your coding foundation, then you're at the right place. In this first video, we will start with a quick introduction to the creator of Python, that is Guido van Rossum. Guido van Rossum was working as a Dutch programmer at Centrum Wiskunde and Informatical Research Institute in Netherlands around 1980s. So during his time, he didn't find any such programming language which was very simple, and the scripting language which he used for his project was very difficult and complicated. So for this purpose, in his Christmas holidays in around 1989, he began developing his own coding language that eventually came to known as Python. The main goal of Guido van Thompson was to create a programming language that would be very simpler and easy to understand, especially for beginners and non-programmers. And you might be wondering, like, why he chose the name Python for this programming language? Because the Python name was chosen from the British comedy series, that is Monty Python's Flying Circus, so that the name Python reflected the language's underlying philosophy to make coding less intimidating and even more enjoyable, since Guido van Rossum always enjoyed this comedy series. And Guido van Rossum officially released Python in 1991, and since from then Python has grown into demand where it is used everywhere, from data analysis, data science, artificial intelligence, automation, and many more. And also, he was known as benevolent dictator for life by his community team members. Now we know who created Python. Let's talk about what actually Python is. Python is a high level, interpreted, and a general purpose programming language that emphasizes code readability. So you might be wondering why I'm focusing on these three keywords. Because high level language is a way of writing instructions that are very close to how humans read and understand. Take an example. In here, we are trying to add two numbers. So this is the instruction that I have written, and the same instruction I will give to Python editor, and which will return me the expected output, that is 5. Clear? Now see what we are doing in this instruction. Here we are trying to assign the values 2 and 3 to variables A and B. A and B are user defined variables. In the next video, you will get to know what are variables. And we are trying to print A plus B. Yes, this is how you write an instruction or code in Python. So to print addition of two numbers, you are not using any weird complex symbols. Here, and you want to remember any syntax for this. Input or give two numbers, and then try to print the then try to print the numbers. Print the addition of two numbers. So this instruction, while I am giving to the Python editor, it will return with the expected output, and these instructions are understood by these instructions are understood by computer as well as the humans. For this purpose, it is a high level language. Because why I'm specifically telling on the instructions, because computer understands only zeros and ones. Zeros and ones are machine level language, and humans cannot define the instructions in machine level language. But here in Python, we can define the instructions in our understandable way and give the same set of instructions to the editor. Clear? And this is one of the reason why it is a high level language. And it, as I mentioned, it is interpreted. What do you mean by interpreted? Which executes your code line by line. Imagine imagine that you have a error, or let me introduce a error at here. Imagine like I want to print two numbers as shown in this program, and I'll give only this sentence: print a plus b. Print a plus b. Here, since it is just a 3 lines program, I can directly tell that the error will be there at so and so line, or I can tell that the error is there at line number 3, that is print a plus b. So I will easily identify the error at this line because a and b are undefined. For example, if you tell computer to add two numbers, Even you have to tell which are those two numbers. Clear? It's just like telling a baby to identify the fruit. To identify the fruit, that particular fruit must be present in front of the baby, right? You just cannot tell which is the fruit or what is the fruit. Similarly, here A and B are undefined. So once I define the values of A and B, then it will provide me the expected output. Here I got to know it is because it is just a 3 lines code. What if my code contains 300 lines? Yes, what if my code contains 300 lines and if there is error at line 26? In such case, what happens? Interpreter will execute everything from line number 1 to line 25. And since there is an error at line 26, it will halt at line 26. And the remaining lines after line 26, it is from line 27 to line 300, will be on hold until and unless you resolve the error at line 26. Clear? Here I got to know there is an error at this line because it was just a 3 lines of code. But if your project contains 300 lines, it is bit difficult to identify where the error is. In such case, interpreter will interpret at this particular line or it will hold the execution at this line telling that there is an error and the remaining lines will be on hold. Clear? The program gets halt and the remaining lines will be on hold. And before the error, whatever lines which were perfect, those will be executed. For this purpose, Python is interpreted. And next, what you have is readability. I mentioned that it is a general purpose programming language that emphasizes code readability. In this example, you saw here we are trying to add two numbers. Clear? And we finished this program in just 3 lines. In the second program, try to read the second program. What is happening here? If age greater than or equal to 18, print you are an adult. It's just like reading a simple English, right? If your age is greater than 18, then you're printing you are an adult. That's it. It looks like a plain English. If I want to write the same code in other programming language like C program, I have to define all the libraries and define the main function, then print the statement and have to handle the return statements, right? So it will take almost 15 lines, but here it's just a matter of only two or three lines, maximum 5 lines. Clear? Since it looks like a plain English and it is easy to understand, for this purpose, the readability factor has become one of the reason. The readability has become one of the reason why it is easy for the beginners. Clear? So if anybody asks you what is a Python, you should clearly tell it is a high level, interpreted and a general purpose programming language that emphasizes readability. And readability is the main reason why it is opt for beginners or why Python is opt for beginners. So not only readability, like if even it has a large community, even Python has a large community to help you. Imagine if you're stuck in some real world project. In such case, you can Google your query or you can just search your query in either YouTube or either in Google where you'll get a n number of solutions. It's not like that will be unsolved. No, that's not right. Clear? So Python has been chosen for beginners because of its simplicity, since the syntax have clear explanation. So this is all about our introduction to Python, and in the upcoming video we will discuss how Python can be used as a calculator. So till then, keep watching. Bye bye. Have a good day.